Okay, people, welcome to Robo's top 5 disappointing figures of 2016. Or would that be bottom 5? I'm no good at this negative stuff. But there have been some figures that have made me a little bit angry this year. Why not list them all up? Now, I hate ending the year on a down note. I wanted to do this list first and then do the favorites for the end of the year. But when it comes to favorites, it's like, yes, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. But when it comes to disappointing figures, it's a little bit harder to list out. It's a little bit harder to pick because I'm one of those guys that can find the good in figures even though they're not the greatest figures. Even I have a breaking point. When it comes down to it, I've been either playing with or buying or collecting action figures for most of my life. So I like to think that I've gotten to the point where I can look at figures on the pegs or in promotional pictures and say, I am not gonna like that figure, not buying it. I don't buy the figures that I know that I'm not gonna like. I guess you could call this list the surprise disappointments of 2016. And just because I don't like the figure doesn't mean it's a bad figure. You may like a figure that I don't like, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. That's what the community is about. That's what these are about. Everybody has a different opinion. Everybody has different likes and dislikes. These are just mine. And I happen to have a camera. Now for honorable mention or dishonorable mention, runner-up to the most disappointing figures, I'm just gonna say Mattel. And I know that's not a figure. I know that's kind of cheating. That's an overall company that makes action figures. But this year, Mattel has just been disappointing. The Suicide Squad figures, while I like the movie, put down the pitchforks. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I couldn't make myself buy any of these figures. They just looked a little bit cartoony. It's like they tried to make the animated version of the Suicide Squad. And it may be our only chance as characters like Flag or Captain Boomerang or Katana, but I just can't get myself to buy these, especially after seeing some of the import figures. On top of that, I subscribe to the Masters of the Universe Filmation Club line, whatever you want to call it, and then they turn around and say, well, we're closing those doors. Enjoy what you got. That kind of put a damper on things. I still have most of those figures in the box, in a box. I did open Trapjaw. You can see the review there. He came out googly-eyed. They look good. I want to like them, but the overall circumstances of just putting 6 figures on the shelf when I have a whole bookcase of classics, you just can't do it. I'm hoping Super 7 in 2017 grabs some Filmation characters, puts some out, lets me add to this collection, and I'll just have an opening party one day. Same for Thundercats. I got Thundercats and then it was like, this is all the Thundercats you get. Too bad on finishing the main cast. Again, Super 7 may step in here and fix things, but at this point, these are still in boxes. In a box. And not to even mention the delays once we got to these 2 clubs. So it's Matty Collector just turning that knife over and over and over to the point where I just didn't care anymore. Number 5, I'm gonna go with Marvel Legends Phoenix. Phoenix is one of those characters in the Marvel Universe that deserves an excellent action figure, and I just don't feel this is up to standard. The original Toy Biz version was pretty cool, but wore out over the years, and to get her replaced with Hasbro's new body, new proportions, new paints, I was really excited about this figure, and then when I got it in hand, I couldn't stand it. By that I mean it's hard to stand. She won't stay up on the shelf. I ended up having to hang her up on the wall. Her weird hair, I guess it was the excitement of Phoenix coming, and then the disappointment of Phoenix not being up to par. For number 4, I'm going with the Star Wars Black Series Luke Skywalker from A New Hope. It's not just the cloth goods, it's the overall figure. I dig that he's shirtless underneath. I really want to display him like that, but I just can't because it's Luke and he's got clothes on. This figure had the unfortunate luck of being released after Bandai showed their SH Figure Arts Luke. So by comparison, this was automatically going to be disappointing when I opened it. Now for these 3, you're probably going to be able to guess. You're probably going to be able to say, 1, 2, 3, here you go, there they are. Because if you watch this channel at all, you know what figures piss me off. And number 3 is the Mafic Superman from Batman vs. Superman. Ooh, this figure, this figure. It spans anywhere from loose as hell to stuck as shit. Now I didn't make up that scale, I'm just going by what was listed on the internet. Ooh, this figure. I'm thinking back to reviewing this figure and just the anger that I had as I was looking at it in front of the camera, trying to hold back from just chunking it through a wall. What made it even worse is the Batman that it came with in the exact same box was kind of fantastic. I like that figure. So it made it even worse by comparison. These two figures coming out at the same time, I would guess from the same factory, or at least the same area, how this one can be so good and this one can be so bad. Night and day. Number two, some people may try to argue with me here, but I gotta go with the SH Figure Arts Jango Fett. This is another one of those figures. It should have been excellent. It should have been awesome. It should have been worth the price that I paid for this damn thing, but it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. The floppy joint, which I know everybody has their own different view on that joint. You're supposed to be able to push it down. It's supposed to tighten up, pull it. It's loose. You can get more range of movement. Pop it back in, tighten. Yeah, I know all that. Mine, every position was just a floppy mess. It's short, it's scrawny, it's kind of clean. I figured it would be a little bit weathered or something. It's just plain Jane Jango Fett, man. I want to like the figure. I just can't. And then there is the frustration with all his add-ons. Should have totally been an alternate head. That's it. Not these little things that get stuck in the, or this falls off. I hate to say that about figure arts. I love figure arts. It's easy to say that about Mafics, but not figure arts, and that's why it's disappointing. So for number one, if I could do a drum roll, I'd do a drum roll, but I am musically disinclined. But for number one, I'm going with the SH Figure Arts Geonosis Battle Droid. No, I'm not. I'm going with the Mafic C3PO because this thing, I hate it. I hate it so bad. The furies of 1,000 suns just well up inside of me, and it makes it even worse because this is the one I display. It's like a paradox. It's a conundrum. It makes me despise myself a little bit. Now, if you go back to that review, you know that it falls apart, and I don't know if that's on purpose, but it shouldn't be that much on purpose, where you just pick it up and the leg falls off, the arm falls off, the right arm splits. But man, the beautiful finish here and the sculpt work is just amazing. And that's what makes it the most disappointing. The potential here. It looks great. Just don't touch it. To make matters worse, he came with R2-D2, a great R2-D2, the one I display in my Return of the Jedi shelf. That R2 had accessories, that R2 had no QC issues whatsoever, it was weathered nicely, it looks fantastic, and then C3PO can barely stand beside him. I don't know what's more disappointing, the QC issues here, or my own inability to not display a Star Wars figure that looks this great, even though I know it's a piece of shit on the inside. So yeah, there you go. Like I said at the first, do not get angry if you like any of the figures on this list. This is just my personal disappointments of 2016. We're all different. That's what makes the world go round. But if you have a figure you absolutely hated, put it in the comments. Maybe there are other figures out there that I should have hated. So if you like this list, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.